Welcome, everyone, to another episode of your favorite podcast, Create Your Joy. And it is our joy to bring it to you, coaches Shruti Goel and Ivania Liang. And it's so good to see everyone. And today we wanted to share a beautiful Whitney Houston song with you, which is called The Greatest Love of All. And again, not only is this song musically just complex and beautiful, but also when you dive into the lyrics, when you really get to look at the lyrics, you understand how many lessons are hiding here for each of us. Reminders, as we like to give ourselves, of encouragement and inspiration. And so without further ado, I want to turn it over to you, Ivania, because you picked this beautiful song, and I'm so curious to hear your perspective and how you chose this song.
Thank you, beautiful Shruti, and thank you everyone for being here. And we are very, very grateful. Um, actually, my husband gave me this song. He said, "Oh, listen to this song. This is what you do every single day." And I go, "Let me hear it." And I think maybe if I ever heard it, like just the melody, I guess, of the song, but I never paid attention and I never actually gravitated to the song at all. And then when I was listening to it, like, oh, sounds really good. Let me look at the lyrics because I think I'm better understanding if I look at the lyrics. And it made me cry when I listened to it. Like, oh my God, what a beautiful song. Like everything that we've been doing in creating our joy and create a new perspective and expand it, don't make it to just one narrow one. Like, and also like for me, this song, if I've been searching for the perfect song as a love song for ourselves, this is it. And I didn't think someone would have wrote it already. And when I heard it, like, oh my God, what a beautiful, wonderful song. And of course, like the melody goes so well together. And anyway, well, let's jump into it so we can discuss because it's just beautiful, and more than beautiful, it shines through you. So in the first verse, it says, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. And just with this, she sets the stage and the spotlight in just you.
Yeah.
And I really love when it says, I believe the children are our future. I think like it could be very easy misunderstood, or it could be very easy to take it for granted. Say, oh yeah, the kids are the future, the kids are the future, but we'd actually had to step back and see what we want to leave behind for our kids. It's just more than here, this is your future. Oh, your future is messed up. Your future is, instead of going away, like taking a step back and say what we need to teach them and what is the most valuable thing that they can learn. And so they can lead the way. And then I think for me, when we are little, we are more, besides of being innocent, we have more faith in ourselves than anything else, that we're able to do it, that we're able to achieve, that we're able to go forward, or even like our dreams, that we're able to accomplish our dream, to achieve them. And as we go older, because of that noise that we always talk about, the higher self and the lower self, the lower self comes in and say, no, you can't. Society, no, you can't. Oh, that's ridiculous. No, so all these things we get confused. But I think if we just step back and just focus on what is and what is possible, that's what I think how I interpret this song. And then it's give him a sense of pride to make it easier. When it says I'm making a pride, is not the ego pride, the egotism, not that, but the pride of who they are, how worthy That
Yeah.
Lord, they are the only ones that can give themselves worth, not other people, because that no one can take it away from you. You complete, that you are whole and complete. And it was just to make it easier because we face challenges in this life in order for us to grow.
Yeah.
But if we have the right tools, if they're giving us the love to reflect in ourselves and to love ourselves, it will make it easier. And it said, let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. And this is so true because we hear the kids when they laugh, and you turn around and you remember, like you get a connection, like when you were little, you were laughing of silly things or of anything that would be easy for you to laugh. And the kids, is not that they stay in a long period of time to be angry or to hold a grudge, and they just easily forget
Yeah.
and then come back to who they are. And I really love that we say that let the children's laughter remind you how we used to be. And in just setting that stage for me with this couple of sentences, it is so beautiful to step back into who we are. Of course, we're gonna go deeper so we can discover. So what do you think, Shruti?
Oh my gosh. You're putting a big smile on my face because I too experienced this song as something that from the first words, both putting that focus on the children being our future, I'm interpreting it to also mean the inner child within us. In self-love work, it's so important for us to reparent ourselves
Yeah.
in a way that we can cultivate our own wise parents within us, that wise self that's within us. And I truly do believe that that part of us is our future because when we can talk to it directly, and when we can give it some strength and dignity, that's what kind of helps us through the growth that we need to have. And, something that just occurred to me as you were sharing your perspective on this is that it occurred to me that, so many of us are given these material goals as we're growing up as kids, like, hey, you want to grow up and have a certain kind of job, make a certain amount of money. But really, if you think about it, the people that are the most dignified through their lives are the ones that learn how to sort of smile, even though things are not perfect around them. It's the people that are most adaptable and are able to stay resilient.
Yeah.
And so I love that, this particular verse kind of focuses on that. You're able to do those things. You're able to find your happiness in the midst of chaos when you know that there's beauty inside of you. You're
Yes.
able to find yourself in the stillness of your own being, even though you might be in the worst storm in your life. So I really loved that. And again, that child's laughter, again, nourishing our inner child. What is it that brings us joy? I found that to be such a powerful reminder. And it just brought this big smile to my face because I think knowing that has also changed my life in a big way. So I love having a reminder of it right here in this song. And if we go forward to the next verse, it continues with this theme. Everyone is searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. A lonely place to be. And so I learned to depend on me. And really, this does sum up all of our journeys, those of us that have kind of begun to walk on the path of self-love. It comes first and foremost from this internal need to want a hero to rescue us from our circumstances, from our challenges, from the things that frustrate us about our life or about ourselves, our quirks, and what we see maybe as our flaws. And so in that sense, it's true. We are all searching for a hero. And again, there's so many movies out there that do this, really well, where they'll show a scene where the person is waiting, but they realize in an aha moment that they are Nobody else is coming. They have to rescue themselves. And I love that moment in those movies, and I love that reminder in this song. People need someone to look up to, and who better to look up to than yourself? And I really, just love this line that I never found anyone who fulfills my needs, because guess what? You are the expert on your life.
Yeah, yeah,
You're the only one who actually knows what those needs are to begin with. So how could anyone else fulfill them? But you can, get better at being able to articulate what those needs are and then collaborate with others on the outside. But before you can do that, you first have to collaborate internally in
yeah,
order to understand what those needs are. So, and it's true, it can be a lonely place to be. The inside of your heart and mind can really feel empty. But once you decide to depend on yourself, and you make friends with yourself, once you embrace the idea of a rich inner world, I believe that it is the most beautiful gift that you can give yourself. And I wanted to share something here. This was an epiphany that I had a few days ago that, maybe in some ways, the introverts in the world are have an edge over the extroverts. So, we're used to seeing that extroverts are so successful, people who just want to connect with others all the time or have all this energy that they gain by interacting, that they're the ones that rule the world. I personally think that it's the introverts who actually will rule the world in the future, because they have this innate ability to spend time, to need time alone in solitude, to recover, to heal on their own. And I believe that when you're able to do that, it helps you cultivate that relationship with yourself a little more easily. Where I believe that the extroverts sometimes have a need for that interaction on the outside. So that's just my little take on this. And I personally consider myself an introvert, but more like an ambivert, where I can be extroverted for some time, but I have to retreat into my rich inner world in order to refresh myself and then go back out in the world. So I really loved this verse, and this song with each verse is just, bringing up more and more deeper reminders for us.
yeah. Thank you for that. And I just wanted to have a few comments on what you just read,
Yeah.
because like when I was listening to the song and reading the sentences that she goes into, everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. Those two things, when I heard it, my mind took me to a place where we always trying to admire somebody else's strength, but not ours.
Ah, that's a great point.
That we always looking at other people achievements, but we never look at our achievements. It just, we start comparing how big of an achievement. And
Yes.
that's that when you minimize your achievements. But what people don't know, and now because of internet and technology, they're able to know that why people have those achievements. It's because they have the right habits, they have the right information, they have the right team, they have a team behind them. While we don't have a team that professional, but
Right.
we do have a team of support of community
Yeah.
where what the song is saying, I teach them well.
Yeah.
Because even though the people that are achieving higher jobs or in sports or you name it,
Yeah.
all of us have that, but
Yeah.
it depends how much do we want it.
Yeah.
And then when it says ever search for a hero, and then we try to put someone in pedestals.
Yes.
And when because they're human beings, like all of us, they have flaws. So when
Yes.
they have those flaws and they fall, they're like, oh, but that's one of the things for me, like I don't put anyone in a pedestal. And if we want to put someone in a pedestal, let's put us everyone in a pedestal.
Yeah.
And also I really like the fact that you said you need someone to look up to. And you're so right when you say, why don't you look up at yourself?
Yeah.
Because when you go inwardly, you're able to see that you had the ability, the capacity to get or to do whatever you really desired to do that. And you become your own example. And you don't have to go around and say, look at me, look at me. There's no need. Because other people, of course, we learn by watching, not by telling us what to do, but by watching. And I really like that. And it says, I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. When I heard that, it was such a beautiful thing to say, fulfill my needs. And my mind went to myself, do that research in yourself and say, what do I really need? What do I really like? What can I live with? And why I cannot live, and what are the things that I can live without? Like starting from that point. And at the same time, it went into a relationship with friends and boyfriends or husbands. It went also, my mind went there too, because at the same time, over the period of time, we start to get more knowledge and you understand that that person that you're with is not able to fulfill all the needs.
Right.
But we think that that person has to fulfill all our needs.
Right.
And when we had that clear, then we're able to get the lower self, which is that critic voice, that or the ego that always want to tell you, no, you should get this, no, you should get that, oh, no, 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 or maybe you shouldn't deserve this. It quiets it down a little more and have a better relationship with yourself and with the others. And the other person doesn't feel as it feels like, okay, I have to make this woman happy, or I have to make this man happy. Then otherwise, then it's not love. So to me, that's where my mind went. And I really liked it that she put that in, who fulfills my need, because no one person outside of you can fulfill your needs. And that for me, that was an eye-opening when I read this.
Beautiful.
And it's also, it could be a lonely place, because when you go inwardly, it's not that it's lonely, but it's like you use the word solitude. So which I really appreciate your word, because we don't usually use that word. So it's not that we're lonely. So we misuse the word. Basically, when you're in solitude.
Yeah.
It's very hard if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
But the more you're in solitude, you're able to hear you really yourself. You're able to hear your voice. You're not able to hear no one's opinions, no one's telling you what is supposed to be. And of course, then you can come out and be with whoever. So I really like that you point that out. Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to mention that, because those sentences is so it's a point where we have to realize that, and I really wanted to emphasize that. And of course, I'm gonna continue where it says, oh, sorry, no, I missed the one that says, so I learned to depend on me. And so I learned to depend on me. So I really like that, because then to me is that she realized that everything depends in ourselves. Everything. We get a chance to choose.
Yeah.
And I really like that. You're not stuck in there forever. You can choose. You can choose to grow. So I really, really like that. And I'm moving on to the next verse, where it says, I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take, no matter what they take from me, they cannot take away my dignity. And from this, like, oh my goodness, beautiful. To me, it's like it summarized what your life is all about.
Yeah.
Your own. Because when you decide, you say, okay, I become to this awareness, I become that this is not good for me. When you become aware, that's when you decide. And so that when your strength comes out, because we have it, everything inside, everything that we need, it's in here. We didn't have to cultivate that. And of course, we need tools, we need certain things. But what I'm saying is that once you decide, then your subconscious is aligned, your mind is aligned, your
Yeah.
physical body is aligned, and your soul is aligned to move forward. So you have a team inside in
Yeah.
a way to push you forward. I did never to walk anyone's shadow. And I really like that because we're not putting anyone in the pedestal. We're not putting anyone in the front. It's like we're walking together. She's not putting anybody behind her either. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, no, we're walking together as one.
Yeah.
And I really like that because if I fail, if I succeed, I really like that she mentions that fail because we're gonna fail. That's part of life. If we're not
Yeah.
failing, then we're not trying,
Right.
right? So if we succeed, we're gonna succeed because we try. Eventually, we're going to succeed. It says at least I live as I believe, and I really like this because if I believe in myself, it doesn't matter if I fail
Right.
because I believe in myself. I believe in the strength that I have and the ability, the capacity that I'm able to move forward, that I'm able to be happy with myself. And they say, and then I really like this, how they cannot take away my dignity. When she finished that sentence, to me is that, yeah, when we lose everything in a sense, like we lose a job, we lose the money that we had, we can lose a home, we could do this, but those are just things. And that's what she said, they will never take away my dignity, me, who I am. No, and that's the precious thing that no one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah.
And she points it out and said, it's like, I'm not afraid because everything that is external, we're able to create it again. We're able to get it again. We're able to work and to get it in the future again. But the dignity, that one, she's not allowing anyone to even get close to take the dignity. And this is very powerful to me.
I
Very.
Oh my gosh, I agree. And I wanted to touch on two of the lines here. You brought a beautiful perspective and viewpoint to this, Ivania. And one thing that really caught my eye is where it says, never to walk in anyone's shadows. And it made me think about how in certain cultures, kids are made to walk in their parents' shadows, in the sense that as long as the parents are alive, they have complete control over the way their child thinks. And I experienced this certainly. I know of this from the Asian cultures. And some part of it is seen as, kind of continuing the traditions that were beloved in the past. But there is also, a sense of loss there, in the fact that the child will never fully grow into their own ability to think critically if they're constantly given what it is that they're allowed to believe about the world. So that really, kind of spoke to me that there is a kind of a natural spirit within us humans to not want to walk in someone's shadows, but even to, in fact, make our own mistakes. As you were saying in the previous verse that, actually in this verse, if I fail, if I succeed, the failure is inevitable, but it is not final. You,
Mhm.
you just keep going. So you fail, so you try another way, and you keep trying until, like you said, you succeed. The success is inevitable too. You just have to be willing to go through the different cycles of
Yeah.
failure and small success until you get to the big one. And so that really spoke to me. And what you said about dignity, that was beautiful in the sense that when I think of this, they can't take away my dignity. Um, it reminds me, again, as a self-love coach, I have to mention the inner critic.
Mhm.
And what happens is when our inner critic is loud and yelling at us for all the things that it thinks we haven't done perfectly, then when someone criticizes us from the outside, our inner critic immediately agrees with that. And we begin to fall into this spiral, downward spiral of beating ourselves up. And so if someone has done their work and made friends with the inner critic, that's when you become this person from whom you can never take away their dignity, because they have made friends with their inner critic. So even if the inner critic brings up a criticism, their voice of their wise self and their intuition is so much louder that
Mhm.
they're going to be able to say, okay, I see your point, and it takes nothing away from me. And so when someone on the outside criticizes them, they'll just calmly look at that person. They may find them mildly annoying, maybe, but in a very calm way, they'll just be able to say, I see your point. And whatever the words that were spoken in anger or kind of meant to insult them, those words will just sort of come to them and fall back away, without touching them. And that's what comes to my mind when I think of someone from whom you can't take their dignity away, because they're not going to agree with the ill words that you're throwing at them, and they're just so strong in their sense of self and their inner collaboration that your criticism of them is just another opinion. And I
Yes.
love that. I really love that. And it's the kind of human being that I strive to be as well. And in the next verse here, it says, because the greatest love of all. I think this is such a powerful, powerful line and verse, is happening to me.
Mhm.
And I found the greatest love of all inside of me. And just like you were saying, Ivania, before, that for for coaches, for people who do the kind of work that we do, this is one of those songs that just fills your eyes with joyful tears,
Yeah.
because what you wanted to express about the work that we do and the transformation that occurs with the clients that we work with, this is it right here. To find that the greatest love of all is inside of me is the world's greatest treasure that you can imagine. And the thing is, you're just one thought away from discovering it for yourself if you haven't tasted it before. So some of us kind of forget that magnificence that we experienced when we were kids, because of the repeated kind of criticism of the world, criticism of the people around us. But when we do discover it, it is one of the most exhilarating feelings in the world. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve, and this is so true. This is what I'm getting at, is it's just that one turn of the mind
Yeah.
away. It's rather than turning outward for external validation, it's just switching that around and shining the light of your compassion on yourself, is how I think about it. It's that easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Because truly, until we can do that, until we are someone that is able to love ourselves, it doesn't matter how outwardly attractive we might be, it doesn't matter what riches we might have, we will never truly be able to love another until we can first love ourselves, because that's what kind of generates that harmlessness. That's what generates that ability to spill that love out from you. And you can't really do that if the only way that you get love for yourself is if it's reflected to you from someone else.
Yes.
So that's how I think of it. But one of my favorite verses in this entire song, it's such a powerful song.
Yes. It's beautiful. I mean, I just wanted to comment, when it says that is happening to me. I think when she's turning inwardly, the greatest love of all is happening to me. Because I think when you realize how much love you have inside, and it starts to, like you say, it start to spill through the outside, you know, that love that you're receiving also is happening to you because of because of who you are as a loving person, because you're reflecting that to others. And then it says, I found the greatest love of all. It's like, I found it. It's not like she's in search. Oh, I need to find the love of my life. No, you are the love of your life. And this
Exactly.
is what I always say. You are the love of your life.
Yeah.
But when you find someone to share this intense love that you have for you and life, you are multiplying that love with the other person, because the other person comes as complete as you are.
Yes.
So that's it. That's why it's so intense,
Yeah.
because there's two love shining
Right.
for one another, and it
Exactly.
amplifies the whole love. So
Yeah.
I really love that, because she said, no, I found it. It's inside of me,
Yeah.
and it's not outside. It's not, it's not like, oh, that person is the love of my life. No, it's within you.
Yeah.
And then it says it's easy to achieve. And it's so easy to achieve, but it's so hard to understand,
Mm.
because it's so easy, because we being conditioned that everything is hard. No, not
Exactly.
everything is hard. It is the easiest thing and the most difficult, because we don't believe it
Right.
until we do the work, until we start looking inwardly, until we see, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I failed, but I tried it, and then I achieved it, and I feel great. And yeah, and then you start, that's why those are lessons that we don't forget, so we can remind ourselves we have to fall in order for us to move forward to the next. And I love the fact where it says learning to love yourself, learning. It never
Yeah.
said that we are going to achieve
Mm-hmm.
loving ourselves completely.
Yeah.
There's no such thing, at least now.
Right.
But it's always a learning thing, because we are so deep and so complex that we discover in ourselves a different stage in our life.
Yeah.
That's why the love grows deeper and
Yeah.
deeper. There's no end to it. And it says, I believe, oh, I guess the greatest of all, I believe the church, our future, it goes back to the
The first verse, I think. Yeah.
thank you. It went back to that first verse when it says, I believe the children in our future, teach them well. And then another thing is, like, when she's going into this repetition mode, is because we talking, I like the way I look at it is like, I like to remind myself,
Yeah.
don't forget, don't forget. And it's like a
Exactly.
mantra, and it's like something that is getting ingrained in our subconscious, that don't forget, don't forget, and don't forget. Or don't forget your inner child.
Exactly.
Forget, it's still there. And then it goes back to say, show them the beauty they possess. And when you say the beauty they possess, it goes back to who they are. I
Yeah.
think just starting from, not from zero, but for who they truly are, not their personality, not their names, not their jobs, not what they're doing, but you're this beautiful energy, this beautiful light that is inhabited in this body that we have to use in this earth. But it's saying that those are your beauty. And then from there you grow. You can do whatever you want to do. You can experience whatever you want to experience, to experience on this earth. But don't forget who you truly are. That you can choose, you can create, and if you don't like something, then change it and get to new one. If you don't like until you find, what you're passionate about. But don't
Yeah.
forget that your love is inside. That doesn't change. It
Right.
never
That's
changes.
Vani. And I just wanted to say something as you were saying this. It just occurred to me how, we go back to that beauty that comes from someone being a baby. Like when the baby is not even born, months before, the entire family is joyful. When the parents find out and share with one another, then the grandparents find out, then the rest of the community finds out, you know, it's that level, that depth of joy that
Yes.
we bring before we're even here.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting to note that, the joy isn't something we have to do. It's who
Yes.
we are at our very core. And it almost makes me want to cry because it's beautiful if you think about it that way, that we, each one of us, have been a baby like that, you
Yes.
know? And yes, even the person who has done terrible mistakes or, who has done terrible things in their life, they were once a baby that someone joyfully awaited to bring into this world. That was a dream fulfilled for someone. So it just, I would just want to make the point that we always have that capacity within us till the moment we die. So no matter how many mistakes we make, this is, I think, one of the most beautiful things about life is that we're just one moment away from turning things around. And
Yes.
it doesn't feel easy, but it is always achievable. It
Yes.
is always something we can begin to do. And in that sense, it just it makes me feel very hopeful about all of us, because none of us knows enough to be a pessimist. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's so true. And then because we had the power in within ourselves, we don't have the powers on others, but in ourselves, we had that power to shift. We've
Ex-
have that power to say, no, not anymore. I want to be happy. I want to be optimistic. I want to look at life in a different way. So now you're starting because now you're saying, I want to.
Exactly.
Started to shift. But of
Yeah.
course, we have to follow through. And then
Yes.
another thing that I really like where it says here, it says, give him a sense. Let me see where it go. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. And that
Yeah.
sense is talking about that feeling, but not just feeling on the surface, but the inner side, like the inner your core, your higher self, the one that had come here to experience this life.
Yeah.
Give him a sense, like a reminder. And it's reminded that don't forget because you have it inside.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what age you are. And then he said, let the children's laughter remind us of who we used to be.
Yeah.
And then he said, decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shoes. And it goes back to remind us, don't put anyone on a pedestal. Don't
Yeah.
think anyone is your hero. You are your own hero. You walk together. Don't put it in, also don't put it into someone to make you happy, because that's not the responsibility. It's like giving you all your responsibility because we have the power to change.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that. Don't take away, they say they can't take away my dignity.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, the highlight that I really, really love, because in every situation that we've been through, that we have suffered, or we have a sense of that we lost something,
Yeah.
it's like the snake that when they shed the skin, that's what happening. They're not taking our dignity. They just take something that doesn't longer deserves, it doesn't longer belong to us. It doesn't deserve us anymore. That's what we're losing. But our dignity, our worth, our love for us, no one in this world can take that away from you.
Exactly. Beautifully said, Ivania. And if I can, I just wanted to read these last few lines because I think, you know, the previous two or three verses are such a beautiful and powerful reminder. And again, when something is repeated in a song, you know, that's the message that you want to have as your takeaway from
Yes.
the song. And it also brings it powerfully to a close with these lines. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love. And I just, one of the things that I want to mention here is for people who are not used to that solitude, and by solitude I mean choosing to be in quiet with yourself, that initially it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to experience discomfort, and yet you can kind of lean into um finding some love in that quiet, in order to make it easier. So I can share an example here from when I first began meditating. It was a very uncomfortable experience for me because my inner critic was very loud. And during an entire meditation session, I would be yelling at myself internally. And it was almost felt humiliating to sit in silence for that duration. And yet, my way of finding the strength and love was to remind my body and mind that I wanted to do this meditation out of love for myself,
Yeah.
because I knew, in this case, I had looked to others around me who, through the act of meditating again and again and again, had found a place of peace and love within themselves. And I knew that even though I didn't have it in this moment, right now I was failing, that if I could just lean into that love and believe that I could do it,
Yes.
one more time and one more time and one more time, that if I look back, now for 10 years that I've been meditating in one form or another, that it has changed the entire course of my life. And one other important point that I just want to share, because through this podcast, Ivania and I bring you so many coaching techniques that we also share in our coaching practices, one-on-one and in group coaching and what have you. And something that occurs to me here is, our individual decisions, we can't always connect the dots going forward, meaning we don't know what exactly the impact of each decision is going to be. But when you look back, they have this tendency to fit with one another and create these connected dots that are a complete puzzle. So, my encouragement to anyone who is at the start of a coaching journey or who is at the start of their self-discovery is, don't worry too much about the initial decisions and whether it's going to fail or succeed. You know, just like this song was saying in an earlier verse, just live your life with whatever it is that you deeply believe within yourself.
Yeah.
And know, trust that when you look back, things will fall into place. They will make sense. And that the individual decisions may or may not feel totally comfortable in the now moment, but when you look back over a course of time, you will see how much you have grown and changed. And really, that's what is you actively showing love for yourself, is allowing yourself that momentary discomfort to lead to a place of greater growth and far deeper love than you could have ever imagined.
Yes. It's beautiful. Thank you for that, because it's when you were saying like that leap of love, what it occurred to me right now is like that deep love that you're gonna have with you, it will translate to understand
Yeah,
your neighbor.
exactly.
And then you'll be able to see that if you understand your neighbor and if the neighbors understand you, meaning like the people, then that love, you'll be able to see that we are just one, not individual anymore. So that
Exactly.
work that we're doing for ourselves is not selfish. It becomes selfless. Selfless. That's the word, Shruti?
Selfless, yeah, you're exactly right. And I actually, in my work, I call it self-full, because I see it as something like a cup that's full of love,
Yes.
and if it's so full that it can spill over,
Yeah,
and the other person's cup is so full that it spills over, then that is an abundance of love right
exactly.
there in between those two people. And but I just personally have to add here, Ivania, that I find that our partnership and our work is like that, is we come to our work as two partners, two colleagues that are already full of the love and devotion that we feel towards our work, and we come and pour that together into this podcast.
Yes.
So,
No, and
I
I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We are so grateful. We do this for love, for
Yeah.
ourselves, and to spill that love onto you and to create just a bigger view on life and how you're able to see it, or you can see it with the eyes of love, compassion, and kindness through you first. And
Exactly.
if you like this episode or any other episodes that we have put out there, please give us a like and subscribe. And we really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you
Bye.
next time. Always create, always be creating, like I said. Bye.
Bye.